Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 26th of November 2020. This is The Gap, episode 544. I'm Lawrie. Joab, Gilroy is here, and it is getting hot in here, would you say?
It's getting hot in here, I'll tell you what. It's fucking hot today. And I'm not about it. I'm not a fan.
Right.
I have a fan. Hopefully you can't hear it too much in the background, dear listener, but
I usually get rid of it.
I imagine that is going to become more and more of a challenge.
Last week I ran 2 noise filters over it to get rid of it. Because the first time I could still hear it, I'm like, oh well, it's time for a second one.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I mean, I've got one of those Vornado fucking beast fans. It's one of these fans that you're supposed to like point at the opposite corner of the room, and it like circulates air, and because it's moving the air, the heat raises, and that sort of cools down the whole room. But it's also an extremely powerful regular fan, and so what I like to do is I point it at my fucking legs, and that's it. That's the entirety of my fan strategy, because it's just too fucking hot, man. It's I mean,
how's the consoles holding up?
They're okay now, but man, like when it starts to get to 40-degree days, Australia is gonna see some like shutdowns. I already saw one shutdown. I think I mentioned it. What I believe is a heat-related shutdown. Nobody seems to believe me that it could be a heat-related shutdown, but it was fucking hot on the day that it happened. I think it was that weekend we had the other week where it was like 36 degrees Celsius.
Right.
And I'd been playing Destiny 2 for like 8 hours straight, and it just shut down in the middle of a strike. Like the Xbox is like just full. Nothing. Like no warning, no anything. It just turned itself off. And that was when I had it in what I thought was enough ventilation. I thought I had enough like space between the top of the thing, because it's basically built like a fucking like a those fucking fire starters, those coal fire starters you get, that like sort of chimneys like heat.
Right.
It's built like one of those, and the heat just fucking shoves out the top. I thought I had enough space. I clearly didn't. So I've since moved it to, it literally sits on, I went onto like Kmart and I bought 2 bedside tables, and I've got it sitting on one of those. And if the other one ever fucking arrives, why would I bought 2 bedside tables, like 2 flat pack bedside tables.
Yeah.
Only one of them showed up. I call up. I'm like, hey, I ordered 2 and you only sent me 1. And they're like, oh no, the other one's coming. I'm like, why didn't you send them together? But more than that, it's been like 2.5 weeks now since the last one showed up. I think they're like making the other one or something. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, we've run out of wood.
Yeah. Christ. This guy, we only made 1 of these. Like, we didn't think anyone would buy 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the other one ever shows up, then I'll put that one. Let's put the PlayStation on that one. But for now, it's like that's got plenty of ventilation. That's always had plenty of ventilation because it's so fucking big that I had to deconstruct my fucking shelving unit.
Yeah.
That it was sitting on to actually fit it. Yeah. But so I've seen it shut down due to heat once already, and it's definitely going to happen again. It is 100% going to happen again. There is absolutely no question. People are going to see it. People are going to see it happen. I mean, there was that Gamers Nexus, their heat breakdown, and like everything they're saying makes a lot of sense. When they reach 100, 110 or whatever it was. The RAM, like, they've got ample fucking cooling for the chipset, but the RAM, the memory is gonna heat like a motherfucker, and there's not much you can do about it. Take the side panels off if you've got a PlayStation 5 and you're worried. Apparently is the solution, and I suspect we will soon be seeing some aftermarket solutions for that as well. I would like my Lee case has these little like filters, these magnetic filters that you can slap on all the grill, all the air venting situations to stop like large dust from getting in. Obviously tiny dust will still get in, but it's also a static situation, so it will attract a lot of that as well, and then you just rinse that out. I believe we'll start to see a lot of that for the Australian summers, because the PlayStation's going to overheat, and anyone who thinks the fucking Xbox can't do the same is out of their fucking minds. It will 100% do it. But like, even just like, you could always tell the PS5 was going to is going to get too hot. Like, when I've been like sharing clips from Demon Souls, and one of them I didn't feel was appropriate for Twitter, because I called the old King Alan a cunt, and I try not to use a C-bomb on Twitter too much because people get really mad at me. So I try to restrict myself to the F-bomb where I can. And so I decided to just share that one on Streamable with on our Discord, and because it was captured via the trophy system.
Yeah,
which is fucking amazing. I love that so much. But
you know what I don't like about it is the fact that like a quarter of the screen is taken up by those black bars.
By the trophy, yeah.
I'm okay with the trophy being there, but the style of this like swooping semicircle on the bottom that is like half a black sort of screen, and it sort of cuts off the bottom part of it, and like, it's not there the whole time, but it's there a significant amount of time. And you've usually got like things on the screen that are happening there, whether it's like a health bar or like inventory management or something. It just seems to take up way too much that's needed. Like, do you need the black bar to be there at all? Or can you just flick up the little trophy, have it spin around, do a dance, and then see you later, boys?
Yeah, that would be a lot better. I 100% agree. I would prefer that. But if the upside is it's also recording my, I had to turn it on in the like share button. You have to go to the settings and turn on record my voice via my controller. Yeah. And I recorded something. I can't remember what it was. But it looked frustrating, and I think Dr. E3 Money was like, "Oh, how come you didn't have voice on for that one?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to turn it on." So after that, I specifically went and found out how to turn it on. And it actually records via the mic that's embedded in the DualSense controller as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that at the time. And I didn't realize when it was going to cap. But it's just me letting out a very satisfied C-bomb at having killed a boss that walloped me repeatedly. That was a pain in the dick of a boss fight. I'm glad that I... Sorry, go.
I was going to say, does it split the tracks so you can get rid of it if you don't want it there?
I don't know. I haven't looked into how deep it goes. But that boss fight, I don't know if you didn't get up to it, did you?
Which one?
Old King Alan, the second last boss fight.
No.
Yeah. It's a cunt of a fight. You would actually probably find it really easy, because I think that outside of one attack, which is just a shitty fucking attack, where he literally steals a level from you, like legit, and it kills. It's a one-hit kill. I don't think it's telegraphed enough.
Does he
But
steal it
outside
every
of that,
time?
what do you mean?
Like, he steals a level from you.
Yeah.
Do you die and then come back and he can steal another Souls level from you?
Oh, absolutely, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
But outside of that attack in particular, he's actually pretty easy to like. He's almost a classic, like one of the sword and board bosses that everyone fucking loves in Souls games. Like he has pretty obvious windups. He like marches around, swipes. He's got a very like he's just got some really good tells. You can see a lot out of that boss that was taken. Like he's the summary of Demon Souls packaged in one fucking boss fight, because you can see so much, right? That they took and they learned from, they iterated on, and then they made it into something phenomenal later on with other boss fights. But in this particular instance, he also does this one really cunty thing, and that thing in particular, you're like, I wonder why we never saw that again. And that is the story of Demon Souls. Oh yeah, I can see it, man. I can see how they arrived at Dark Souls. I wonder why we never fucking saw that fucking thing again, though.
Because could you imagine, like, the entire game's premise is built around, or the genre's premise is built around collecting souls or whatever it is you're collecting and leveling up. And if you get to a boss where it's taking that away from you, and the other thing about the game is learning from your mistakes, like, the purpose of the game is to die so you can learn your mistakes and get better.
Yeah.
And if that boss is literally just killing you and taking away levels, that kind of defeats the purpose of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I believe when you die, when you return, you can pick all of those souls back up. So when you die to the soul thing,
he drops them,
and he drops them for you, so you can actually get the levels back, I think. But the flip side is the run to him. I was talking about this on Twitter. Like, the other thing that I think they really learned in later Souls games was to not, like, dramatically restrict your ability to just fucking piss bolt past shit.
Yeah.
I eventually, using some spectacular parkour, and this is, bear in mind, I still hadn't leveled up my vitality. I got to 12, which was enough for... I think I stopped at 12 because I started no longer being one hit by the skellies in Shrine of Storms. But part of that also, like, all your resistance go up as you level up in Souls games. So, like, I was also taking less damage just as
your
like,
defense goes
part
up.
of the fucking exactly, part of the game. Because so they weren't necessarily linked, but I was able to live through a fucking one hit from a skelly in 4-2 while in soul form. So I'm like, okay, so I can do this. Like, I don't desperately need to one-shot everything or be in human form to get through this fucking nightmare, which is 4.2, which can fuck itself forever. Which I think that's where the Reapers were. You go on that fucking outside. Did you ever get into the inside of that? Because it gets so much fucking worse. I can't remember. I think you fucking bailed on that level.
I got to the guy, I ran past them and then got to the wall, and there was that dude shooting the laser beam, and I died because I was still running past those. I just ran past those two skeletons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the two gold ones. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the laser guy. Yeah. He hits you through a wall. He can hit you through a wall. It's a one-shot kill. He hit me through the floor at one point. They respawn until you kill the fucking Reaper, which is top-notch. They've got... The range on that laser is disgusting. It's massive. And it has more width than it would appear. So yeah, that was the worst shit I encountered in that game. Luckily, I probably would have quit if I'd gotten to the bottom and I died to that boss.
Yeah.
But that boss is so hilariously simple that I actually genuinely thought I had to go look it up. I had to go look up and see if I'd done something wrong. What it turned out to have happened was I was wearing the thief ring, which lowers aggro range. I was wearing that because it allowed me to get in fucking lock-on range with the laser cunts so I could one-shot them. Which was the only way I could fucking do it. When I was wearing, I think I was wearing the Thing Ring and Magic Up. I couldn't one-shot them without Magic Up. But I could live through an array of damage. Move on, and then I could get close enough to the laser dickwads to fuck him up. It turns out if you're wearing the thief ring in that boss fight, he basically can't ever see you and he dies. Like, easy peasy, easy clap. Like, stupid shit. But I had to go look it up because I was like, is this boss broken? Like, is this game broken? Like, I thought it was like when I played Bloodborne and I had the memory leak.
Yeah.
And like all of the movesets were broken and like they didn't do any of this shit. I'm like, this is way too easy. I don't understand what's going on here. No, that's just the boss. That's how the boss is constructed. So yeah, I beat him one shot. If I had to go through that area again, I probably would have fucking failed as well. I was on the fucking brink, man. 4-2 is just shit, and you can't run past most of that shit, right? That's the thing, right? Like you can't. I couldn't run past the fucking laser guys because they like as soon as I got close to them, you literally have to iframe roll through that fucking laser. That's the way to beat the laser is to iframe roll through it and then stab them to death. But you can't roll past them or sprint past them. So there's no way to fucking sprint to the boss fight from the fucking bonfire, which I think is such a fucking mistake in that game. Like the inability, and it's something that Dark Souls learned, and you know they've really held to is the ability to just piss bolt onto the next boss fight. I guess Sekiro just fucking put a bonfire outside the boss fight, but like yeah, the ability that is actually a fucking core tenet of the Dark Souls series is that moment when you learn to just fucking run to the boss fight, to stop fighting everything in between. That is such a huge, like that's some fucking like casting off the fucking weighted clothing shit. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fight for reals now. Yeah. And like your ability to, you know, that Silicon Valley saying, fail quickly, right? Fail faster, right? Like your ability to fail faster. Like you are so much faster at failing, and so as a result, you're so much quicker at learning what you need to learn to beat these bosses. And I think it really unleashed the ability to create bosses that were like complex and required proper learning, and like they could do attacks that were subtly different. Like one strike starts with an elbow upwards, and one strike is the hands upwards first, and you're like, oh, okay, I know. Okay, hands upwards first, overhand, dodge left, elbow out first, dodge backwards, like that kind of shit. And there's such subtle fucking differences, but once you know them, that's some fucking expertise shit. That's like reading about fucking sword fights in books shit. Like, oh yeah, I'm like, whatever his name is, that guy, I don't know, I've forgotten his name. This metaphor was going really well until I forgot that guy's name. Anyway, yeah, like, just, I don't know. I've been playing through NG Plus. I'm probably not going to keep going. Most of what was pushing me forward to play through NG Plus was Kleb, who reviewed it for, what is it, like?
Gamer No?
It's a Norwegian site. Gamer No, yeah. But, like, is it pronounced Gamer No? I don't know. Isn't NO like the Norwegian?
No.
No.
No. Gamer, no.
That's Scottish.
Scottish, fuck off. It was. That was like Scandinavian as shit. Anyway, he reviewed, and we were having a bit of a tete-a-tete, a back and forth over our achievements scores, because he was talking shit, and I think his like he needs to reinstall his game because an update failed or something, and so I believe I've won by virtue of default. But I was basically just going through and completing achievements. Like I did the one where you have to kill the dragon god boss with the fists of God, which you get just outside the room, which was quite the challenge because you need 18 strength to wield them properly, and I did not have that. I had, I believe it was 12. I got everything to 12 by the end, 12 baseline, and I think my int is at 40. I think 40 is for 6 slots of magic, and my magic itself is at 55 or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Full glass cannon shit. Like full, if my magic doesn't work, I am dead. I am so fucking dead. So as I didn't have the 18 required, and you can't two-hand a fist weapon, I was doing 2 damage every hit. And if I stay for more than 1 hit, when it breathes out, it breathes fire, and so I would die. And so it was basically just me killing this fucking thing for about 15 minutes, just punching once and ducking out, and ducking in and then realizing I'd taken too long on the duck in and ducking out again without having hit and stuff like that. But I did it eventually, and I got an achievement, and that put me ahead of Kleb, and that's all that matters. And so I think I won our competition. But yeah, it was good. Our reviews went live last week. I know I said last week that I was going to give it an 8.5. I sent it through to my editor. I guess we were talking about this based on Johnny Bravo's question the other week, right? Like, at what point is it my review or not?
On the score, based on the score. Like, how much say do you have over it?
And
based on the site, usually.
It's a fantastic example of it, where the editor, Steve Farrelly, read the review and he's like, I don't think it reads like an 8.5, man. So you can make it read more like an 8.5, or I think it, like if I had to pick a number, I would say it reads more like a 7.8. I'm like, that's how you think it reads, man. Let's do it. Because as always, I will back the words until the fucking ends of the earth, and the number is completely malleable. It's whatever works for the site. Yeah.
And every site is different in terms of
every site is different. Yeah. So yeah, wound up with a 7.8. I was the lowest scorer in the world for a 13-hour period, I think, before your review went up.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Then Luke came swooping in with the 7.5.
Yeah, everyone was asleep though when yours went up.
That's it. Yeah, they had the rallying cry hadn't been put out by the fucking dorks. But yeah, as a result, you've been copping a bit of stick, eh? Hilarious.
A little bit. I haven't really read it.
Yeah,
don't.
I've been reading because it amuses the shit out of me. It's a good
well,
review.
I forgot there were comments on that page until like 2 days later when I went to it, and because I think I saw Steve Wright talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like that review went up. That's weird. I haven't got no one said anything, and I went to the actual review and then saw the comments and was like, oh yeah, that's about as expected. And then I went onto my Twitter, And I started looking at like the Survivor Twitter account and the sort of things he was replying to in relation to that. And I was tagged in some of them. I'm like, I didn't see any of this stuff. Like, what is going on? And Twitter had been like not showing it on my timeline, basically, because it does a good job of getting those like fucking, we just signed up for Twitter like recently, and we've only posted like a couple of 100 posts, but we're only following like 3 people or something like that.
Yeah,
and so and they haven't changed like their image, and so that stuff just doesn't get sent to you, it looks like, because I had a couple of posts that were just hidden from me. So good job, Twitter, I guess. So yeah, I was completely oblivious to all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was just the usual clickbait stuff that was in there. Not clickbait, but like people attempting to justify their purchase, like having no actual intellectual discussion. Just, you're wrong type thing. This is a 10. All right. Or this is the worst review I've ever read, because I give it a 7.5, which literally says good underneath it. I had one dude that I saw, and I've seen this a bunch happen. I've even seen game developers do this and people that like don't really like what game reviews do, but saying like developers put a bunch of time into this, like it was so it was their passion, and they put a lot of, they spent a lot of time working on this. It was like years and years of work, and you can tell that was the thing that we're really passionate about. And it's like, yeah, but I don't review games depending on how passionate people are about them. Like, everybody works hard on these games, but I'm analyzing the things that are wrong with it. And that's what these reviews are there for. Like, I'm not giving fucking 10s to every game because every developer's passionate about what they're working on. That's not how it works. I saw stuff like that in there, and yeah, I mean, there was nothing that was even remotely attempting to have a civil discussion. I think there was one post on there that was sort of like, I agree, like, this game is definitely outdated. I would have given it maybe like an 8, and that was maybe the most civil person that was on there that I saw. Yeah.
Someone told you to kill yourself. Holy fuck. What is wrong with these people? That is fucking wild.
But I didn't see any of this stuff because Twitter just fucking...
just got rid of it, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it, so I'm fine. Whatever. Good luck. Good luck to you.
Well, now I told you. I've ruined
it. Yeah, you've drawn
I'm like the reverse of Twitter.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. It's just cooked, eh? Like, it's just bananas that people are like this. What is wrong with them?
But like, you talk about people having this sort of weird illusion of... The other thing that I saw someone talking about was like, it's a remake. They've done like an amazing job at remastering this game, and like that's what you should be judging it on, not the gameplay.
That, right? Like, yeah, you address that, right?
Yeah, I like literally said, like, it is a fantastic remaster. It's like one of the best. But the game design doesn't hold up. It's a 10-year-old game. I'm not reviewing the game 10 years ago. I'm reviewing the game today and holding up to the other standards of games that are out. And that's just going to be a factor of most games. Like, if someone came out with a fucking ET remaster and they made it, they updated the graphics and it looked fantastic and all that sort of shit. Like, I'm talking about the old school, like, Atari ET game, right?
Garbage dump.
You're not going to be seeing like people giving that thing 10s because they did a good job of remastering. Like, the game is still, it doesn't hold up. Yeah. And I'm just taking that as a game that was bad. But
yeah, exactly.
There are certain games that just do not hold. Like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a great example. That game, the gameplay in that still works. Like, everything about it works. And that could be just because they actually did go in and change a bunch of the way that the gameplay worked in that game. Like, they did a bunch of that stuff, and that was something that it wasn't just a visual graphics update. There was stuff in there that brought it up to date. There was all these unlockables that you could get, they updated things with the character animations and the move sets and changing like the way online multiple, like that is gameplay stuff that has brought it up to date, right? But Bluepoint didn't do that with Demon Souls. They did a visual pass on it. They did some very minor sort of gameplay stuff in terms of accessibility and things like that we talked about. They put in the camera mode, which is great. What else is in there?
You can send shit direct to storage. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, fractured mode.
Fractured mode, which like mirrors the levels. Right? But that's like, it doesn't still fix the fundamental issues with the gameplay that has been resolved in the latest iterations of that game. You took, like, I was playing a bunch more and I got to, I'm just trying to look at the list here. I can't even see it on the list. 5.2. What is 5.2 called? Swamp of Sorrow. That is an area, and even the one before that, the Depraved Chasm, is an area where there are things that can hurt you and build up. You can get plagued, right? And there are a bunch of resistances in the game, whether it's magic or fire or bleeding, poison, right? You have absolutely no way of knowing when that will trigger, like how much you're actually taking on. That was something that was fixed in the games going forward. They would bring up a bar to say you've been poisoned and here's a bar and it's filling up slowly. And if it got to the end of that bar, that's when you would eventually start taking damage. And you would understand like how much resistance you got. Do I need to pop a thing? Do I need to get out of the poison water or whatever it is, right? You have no way of knowing here. You just you just start taking damage automatically.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one of the levels I got up to. I was like, this is like dumb. This is so dumb. So I just ran around in the fucking plague water forever, picking up items and, you know, that's just, you have no way of knowing whether or not that gameplay mechanic is working or if you're actually negating any of it from the clothing you're wearing or the items you're taking. And so that's a perfect example of something that doesn't quite work as well in that game that was fixed later on. And I think by pointing that out is fine. Like, it's just strange.
Right? Like, oh my God.
People get very, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of them wanting to justify the money they spent or like things like that.
What is it? $750 for the console plus $120, is it? I don't know. How much is Demon Souls retail?
It's full priced. Yeah.
Yeah, right? So that's an $870 game. You want it to be worth $870. We don't, like, neither of us. Yeah, $125. Neither of us like measure a game's value based on its price. It is.
I do.
A factor.
Sure.
It's price relative. But like, neither of us measure it based on the fact that, you know, you also had to buy a fucking console to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say this game is too overpriced and therefore it is a 3 or something. Like, but I will say, hey, it's a bit expensive. It's a bit on the expensive side.
Yeah, like if it had cost fucking $20, you'd be like, it's like outdated as shit, but it's a gorgeous remaster and it's cheap as fuck. You would be crazy not to get this. Here's what to expect.
Yeah, here are the flaws. And
here are the flaws, but at this price point, it's probably not too big a deal.
Right.
At full price, it's a full price game. It gets the full price treatment.
And also, a 7.5 is not a bad score. Like on Survivor, it says under a little tag and it says good. And there were people there that I saw being like, they've given it a bad score. I'm like, it's not. That's not a. If I gave it a 3, yes, that'd be like it'd say bad under it. But because I didn't give it an 8 or an 8.5, you're getting really upset.
Yeah. Consequence.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, we've been dealing with this for 10 years now. It's nothing new. I'm used to this.
It isn't. It's just always amusing when it rears its head. Speaking of amusing, I today live stream Q&A, which is absolutely something I'm going to do going forward with any review I do. I love the idea. It's probably the best idea I have encountered. Something suggested by JB a long time ago. The idea of somehow like providing a bridge between what the value you get out of streamers and video content creators versus the traditional review, and I think it's a fantastic idea. Anyway, so I Twitch streamed for 90 minutes, which I think is a good amount of time. I did it via the PlayStation itself, so using the console as it's broadcast options that are built into the share system. So it's not like the quality wasn't as good as it maybe could have been, but it was still. I think I watched it back. Like I downloaded the broadcast, which is something you can do, so I can make a highlight reel of every time I fucking died.
Right.
But the quality seemed quite good. I mean, I only did 720p because I know that as I'm not an affiliate or a partner, I believe you can't, like, you can only output at whatever, like, if once you reach affiliate, I think it will scale to different sizes for viewers. But if you're not that, it'll just do whatever you output at. So if you were to output at 4K, it wouldn't matter if your stream, like if you had fucking whatever the fuck internet you got over there to output it at 4K, and you like some fucking beast PC that's doing nothing but rendering so they can output at 4K. The viewer would also need to be able to watch it at 4K, and they wouldn't it wouldn't downgrade to 1080p or some shit, right? So I output at 720p just to make sure my wife was at home working from home, and I don't want to fucking fuck up her ability to do work by hogging all the bandwidth.
Sure.
And B, to make sure everyone would be able to watch it. I think the quality of the video is fine. Obviously, it could be better. But the PlayStation had absolutely no trouble rendering it at 720. It didn't result in any kind of like hitches. And I was just going through the Tower of Atria, which is pretty entertaining area, and doing some doing stuff. I had already learned it once that week, but I have a lot of trouble talking and playing at the same time. One of those things is going to degrade as the other one increases. So if I start to concentrate on playing, I will absolutely stop talking. And if I start to concentrate on talking, I will play like shit. But like at the same time, it was for a goof. I think I definitely have a tendency to take things a bit too seriously. Take the outcome too seriously. I take it really personally. I absolutely tilted by the end of the fucking 90 minutes. I think in my own self, I can read too much into the appearance of dying over and over again on a stream. But yeah, I think it was pretty obvious that I was goofing. It was also NG Plus, so everything was a bit harder. And I still haven't upgraded. I'm still glass cannon as shit. So basically, all it meant was that things that I could one shot before now take fucking 4 shots, and that is significantly more trouble for me. But when I die in one hit, but I still had a good time, and yeah, I thought it was pretty amusing. I got fucking summoned as the old monk boss, which is the final boss in 3.3. Sorry, 3.2. 3.2? 3.3.
I think it's technically 3, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so I got summoned to do that. I managed to win that fight inexplicably because if you watch it back, I should have fucking lost it. I 100% should have lost it. I popped Firestorm from the get go and it did absolutely nothing. He like just ran straight through it. He didn't even give a fuck. And then so I just fucking R1 spammed him to death. And that went spectacularly. I mean, to his detriment, I do have a Crescent Falchion +5, which super scales with magic, and I got fuck tons of magic damage. So yeah, he was in for a bit of trouble with the R1 spam, but still, I was surprised at how well it went. So that was pretty funny, and I got away with some stuff. And what else? I did the rolling challenge with the big ballista that fires crossbow bolts over and over again, which is technically the shortcut, but I've never taken that shortcut to get to the boss there. So you can roll past those arrows and you get an achievement for it. And I did it on stream, and I should have died because I got hit by one of the fucking arrows and somehow it didn't matter. I got away with it. And so that was pretty funny, pretty entertaining. And yeah, basically just talk through the review a bit. I mean, I talked through it on my own merits, but Hamish from Survival, he's in, asked good questions. Jung showed up. Yeah, just a good chat. Cleb fucking told me where the fuck I was supposed to go at one point. I like the idea. I will absolutely continue to do it. And yeah, I think it turned into some quality content that I believe is still. I think you can still watch the VOD. I think that also because I'm not an affiliate on Twitch, my VODs get deleted after a set amount of time. So I think you can go still watch the VOD if you're so inclined. But
right, or if you're playing any DMCA music on there, it'll delete that as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. But I don't play music, so
right.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I got to. I killed a couple extra bosses. I killed those gargoyles that I was at last week when we were talking. I basically just summoned someone to come help me, and they had magic arrows, so they were able to shoot it while it was floating in the sky. Because I don't know what was going on, but I struggled to get that boss to come fucking fight me, because it would either land on one of those statues and not be able to get on the actual ground, or it would just sit up in the air and fly backwards and forwards. It was just really weird. And by the time I would get it down to somewhere significant, that second boss had come in, and I would I couldn't fight both of them at once, because for whatever reason then they decided, I don't need a flyer anymore, I can just come and fucking run at you. And I'm like, why weren't you doing this before? I just got sick of it. It wasn't because I couldn't beat it. I just got sick of every single time me going in there. It just was it wouldn't work properly. It was it's a flat out broken boss as far as I'm aware. Because every time I would go in there, he wouldn't fight properly. There was always something weird going on with it. So I did that, and then I did the next one, the one you were just talking about, where you get people can play as the boss.
Yep. How did you enjoy the run up to that boss?
Well, so I thought, because it came up and was blah blah's been summoned, and I'm like, okay, this is a person coming. And so I just kind of stood there for a bit, because I was like, he'll probably come running down these really narrow stairs. Never came. And then I saw one of those red phantoms, and I was like, man, fucking hell. They're the ones I was always having problems with going up to that gargoyle, because
he blaps you from range away. He's like a sniper.
Yeah. And also I was wearing fat armor the entire game, because I didn't know that you could get non-fat armor, because there's no indicator on the actual stats screen anymore. So I ended up dropping back to some leather armor, and I could roll properly now, which meant that whenever he used his attack, I could get the fuck out of the way quickly and not get one shot by him. And so they weren't a problem anymore. So I killed that one, killed the next one, and it's just a bit of a pain, because sometimes they go into an auto attack mode where they're just throwing those I don't know what they are, soul arrows at you, and you've got to just wait for them to stop, because if you get hit by one of them, you're pretty done. So I go kill the first one, kill the second one, get up into that room, cutscene plays out, and I'm not really sure what's going on at this stage. And then he's like behind me, a dude comes running up. I'm like, what the fuck? There's a dude here. And I thought it was, I was like, oh, this is the invader. Like, I'm looking for the boss at the same time. And so I put my shield up, and this dude just fucking swings at me. It goes through my shield, and I'm like instantly dead, like one shot. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. And so it spawns me back down the bottom. I run back up, like another thing. Oh, someone's been summoned. Black Phantom has joined the game. I'm like, cool. And then I realize what is going on. I get to the boss, and there's another cutscene, and this cutscene goes for fucking. It's longer than like a Kojima cutscene, as far as I'm concerned. It goes forever. And then finally you get into the game, and this dude is like warping around, like it's super laggy and shit. And I've got to fight him, and then I end up getting just smashed. Like, I don't even think I hit this guy because he's warping everywhere. I think he backstabbed me or something like that. And I'm like, I think I'm done, because if you're gonna play that cutscene every time I need to go up there, and then there's a chance I get some fucking laggy dude again, I'm good. I'm good at this stage. So then I went somewhere else. I went to that the one I was talking about before, the Swamp of Sorrow, was it called? Swamp of Sorrow. And then I wasn't having a good time there, because the you keep getting plagued every time you go in the water, and the water is how you sort of get around. And
I didn't have any problems with that, eh? I don't know why.
I kept getting plagued going in that.
Maybe I had plague resist on or something. I don't know. I guess I may have had plague resist, some degree of it.
Yeah.
But I just found myself. I guess the other thing was I could shoot those fucking jellyfish dudes from the land. I just fucking magic blast the cunts, and then just run over to the next bit of land. So that made things a little bit easier, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I just kind of, I don't know, I just wasn't having fun with it anymore.
Yeah.
In some of those areas, the other part I was at was 1-4, 1-4, 1-3. Might have been 1-3.
1-3
after the Tower Knight.
After the Tower Knight.
Yeah, and there's that again. Like, we're back to this level design thing of, in order for you to get from that area to the next boss, it does all these intricate shortcut systems, but you're still running through like 15 guys, like 20 guys to get to that next area.
Yep.
And I don't think that is good design at that point. Like, you having to fight all of these people every time you want to get through there.
The part where you can't just run past them, the part where the fucking path past them is so fucking narrow.
Yeah.
That there's a halfway decent chance that you will fucking roll off the edge and fall to your death. That's the part that fucking wrecks it. That's the part that Dark Souls learned to fix. You know.
Yeah.
That's what they learned from specifically was, you like specifically for the last boss, Old King Alan, the run from the Tower Knight to Old King Alan can be made extremely simple if you stand there for, I think it was 22 minutes, and shoots the blue dragon until it's dead, and then you open a door that I guarantee you can only open if you've killed the blue dragon. I'm sure of it. And then you've got a pretty quick run to Old King Alan, except for the part where you have to run up a series of ramps that takes you to a point where you die if you fall. And on those ramps, or between you and the top of those ramps, are two red-eyed knights. And the problem with those guys is their collision box, their hitbox, is so wide that even if you try to roll past them, you get pushed off And your best hope at that point is that you land on one of the other ledges below where there are crossbow guys who will shoot you when you land. And that's your best hope. And so, yeah, you either have to beat them or there is like one area where if you're not inclined to fucking kill all these dudes every time, and I got very fucking good at this, you can lure the red-eyed knight at the top to attack, and he will fall off the edge of the stairs or the ramp, and then you can run past him. But while you are doing that, there's another red-eyed knight behind you, two crossbow guys, and some fucking Imperial spike hunt who was trying to fucking pelt you with like throwing daggers. And all of these things are one-hit kills to me. So I got very good at doing this specific element, but it was still almost as frustrating as the boss fight itself. Yeah. Anyway, it's just a huge misstep. I don't even remember the run back to the tower night, although I do recall thinking, God, I hope I beat this fucking boss in one go because I do not want to make this run again. Yeah. Which I don't think is good. I don't think it's a good feeling. And I don't recall feeling it in the other Souls games. I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying, like, there's a hint in the back of my mind that one of them might be particularly cunty. But I can't remember who it was. Because I think most of them were okay. Maybe I definitely got sick of in Dark Souls 2. There was that run to the spider boss that I got sick of because I was trying to do it way too early so I could get the Moonlight Greatsword really early for a build I was trying to do, and that fight must have taken me like fucking 60 or 70 attempts. And that was quite infuriating. But the run itself wasn't that bad. Like, it's quite easy, and I could probably, if you put a controller in my hand, I could probably do it in my sleep now. But I got well over that fucking run because I did it so many times.
Right.
I vaguely think in 3 there was a way to get to the tree boss.
There was a bunch of ways.
Right, and if you didn't find the fucking, there was one really good way, there was one okay way, and there was a bad way. And if you didn't find the good way or the okay way, I think that run was pretty fucking rough.
Yeah, there was a bonfire near a door somewhere. You had to open up the actual door to create a shortcut, and you kind of just run through. You'd run through maybe like 3 people or something to get to it. I think there were a couple of dogs or something down there, but like there was like 3 ways. You could either go that way. There was another bit down like a hallway, or you could go up the actual tower as well, I believe. And there was like a bonfire.
Roll up the roof or whatever the fuck, right?
It was either on the roof or I think there might have been one down the bottom as well, because there was like that took you to a new area. It was like an elevator that went up and down. Or it could have been on the middle floor. I can't really remember at this stage. It's been a while. But yeah, that one was...
when I played that one in the preview session, it was annoying because I wanted to beat that boss because the PR people had said nobody beat this boss yet. I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking do it, baby.
Yeah.
And so I fucking beeline for the boss. And by doing that, I sort of didn't explore as much as I should have. And so I had only the bad run. And so I remember that being a little bit annoying. But again, that annoying run was still, there was plenty of space.
Yeah.
It was just what you were up against moved quickly. And so you had to be good at fucking using that space, you know? Demon Souls, narrow paths, all over the fucking place. Extremely aggravating. Yoikers. Anyway, Demon Souls.
That is Demon Souls. Yeah, like I've said, it's not a bad game. I just think it's the
if you want to show off, yeah,
the series.
I said it in the stream. Like, it is the worst of one of the best game series of all time. You know, like, yeah. If you ask me to play it again, I would do it, but yeah, I would prefer to play other Souls games before, even Bloodborne, I think. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, what else we got? What else is on the list?
Couple games here. I'll go if you want. I've been playing a little bit of Monster Train.
Yeah.
This is it's a card game where you're on a train in hell, battling a bunch of angels that have trying to extinguish the last pyre of hell. The way it's formatted is there's like 3 levels on this train, and the enemies start on the bottom level. They start like sort of pouring in, and you play cards to counter them from working their way through each level of this train to eventually keep doing damage to it. And there's a bunch of different like factions in the game that you can pick from. Each one has their sort of unique abilities and traits to them. And you and I put a bunch of time into this when it was first released earlier on in this year, as it was in early access and up until it's released. And yeah, I was playing a bunch over the last couple of days, and they've made a bunch of changes to it. I don't know when the last time was that you jumped in, but they've got basically every single faction in there has like a new champion. So you can basically pick between 2 different champions now, which is cool. So I'm sort of still learning the ins and outs of how they sort of all work. And there's some really interesting ones in there. I've had a couple of wins. I think I've had 3 wins on like the very baseline difficulty. Like, I haven't bumped it up at all. I'm sort of just still going through each one and changing colors around. Like, I'll pick like a green red and then see what the actual new champion does and play around with that. And they give you some interesting choices in terms of, I don't know, like, I found that going down, when you pick a champion, they give you like an ability on the card, and it would be an either or like ability you could pick from. And when you picked one, eventually you'd get to a point where you can level that card up again, and it'd give you an upgraded version of that card ability, or you could go to a different path and pick something else. And I always found that I, for the most part, would just pick the upgraded one. But with these new ones, I've felt like I'm doing a lot more mixing and matching, like going on picking one, and then next time it sort of shows me, I'm like, oh, I'll pick the next chain now. And that'll sort of mix it up a little bit and make it a bit different to what it was supposed to be doing. For instance, it'd be like, whenever this card dies, you'd get 3 extra attack and 3 bonus health permanently. And you're like, or every time it killed something, right? It'd get an extra 3 extra attack, right? And then the next time I level it up, it'd be like, oh, you get 4 extra attack every time you kill something. But the next one would be like, you still get that 3 extra attack damage every time you kill something, but every time the card extinguishes, then you get plus 25 attack, and it's an endless card. And so you can keep bringing it back up, which means that I could keep bringing, every time that card it would die, I could bring it back, and then I'd still have the ability to keep doing damage and killing things. So every time it'd kill something, it'd still get more attack, rather than being like, now it's got 4 extra attack every time it kills something. I felt like the trade-off on that was probably a lot better. And so I felt like I was mixing a little bit more, so that was kind of cool. And it seems like they've done a bit of tweaking on some of the cards that didn't feel as strong. I saw some stuff in there that was a little bit more different, which is cool. So they've been balancing it a little bit more, which is great. And a slight amount of accessibility options, just giving the player like more information as to what's going on and that sort of thing, which is cool. I like. I'm still digging that game quite a lot. I've got to go through and play some extra champions and sort of see how they work. Because I've only done like 3 of them at this point. Because the runs are usually taking me like an hour and a bit to get through. I'll listen to like a podcast or something and have it on in the background, and um, every once in a while I'll pause the game and just see what's going on Twitter or that type of thing. Like I'm not fully engaged in what's going on in the game, but it's the type of game where you can do that. You can sort of switch between doing things, and because it's not really time sensitive or anything. So, have you had a chance at all to jump in and see these new cards?
I'll jump back in.
I just didn't know.
I saw it come up. I don't know what it was, like I don't know, Twitter thread. I didn't see anything about the updates, but I saw it mentioned. I'm like, oh, I should go back and have a look at how that's evolved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking about it anyway, but now I definitely will.
Because before you'd pick like a primary deck or a primary color, and it'd give you a champion, and that was the champion you'd use. And if you picked another color, it'd be the secondary deck, and that was usually like the tank's abilities or like spells. That's the way spells would work. But now you pick a color, and you've got a choice between 2 champions. You can pick the original ones that shipped with the game when it first launched, or these new ones that are in the game. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of just working my way through them, and it gives you another like more variety because there's an extra sort of level to play with in there. So kind of cool. It's called Monster Train. It's out on pretty much everything at this stage. It's very good. You should definitely check it out if you're into deck building card games, because it's one of the better ones of this year. What else do we have here? Do you want to talk about Nova Drift?
Sure. Nova Drift is how to describe it? Sort of like a twin stick shooter, a la Geometry Wars, but it's entirely mouse based, which I'm not wild about, to be honest. I would prefer it to be actual twin stick shooter where I plug a controller in, but
you can't plug it in.
Well, it's in early access and it's quite early.
Right.
It's cool. Like as you play, like you're this evolving space organism ship that evolves in different ways every time you play. And so as you play, you reach like the level up section, and that allows you to improve or change things about yourself. And so it might be you can change what shot type you deal, or so sort of imagine Geometry Wars or like a shoot 'em up type game, except it's locked on a single screen and enemies sort of fly in, and you've got that it's got that screen wrap style where you'll fly down like through the bottom and you'll come out through the top and stuff like that. And the more you play through it, the more you unlock, and some of the unlocks have branching like upgrades and stuff like that, and some of the upgrades aren't necessarily terribly compatible with each other, which I don't know if something they want to have happen. Like you might unlock like there's like a beam, and you can still get the opportunity to unlock like extra projectiles, but you don't have any projectiles, so it doesn't actually do anything as an upgrade. And I don't know if that's supposed to show up or it's just sort of a wasted upgrade slot. But it almost feels like a deck builder that is also a twin stick shooter, because you are building as you it's not like cards or anything, and it doesn't have the the intense strategy. It's certainly more dexterity focused, but as you play through it, it does lean pretty heavily on deck builder philosophy, in that what you are trying to do, as you play deck builders for the first time, one of the things that one of the traps new players fall into is building towards a certain thing. I want to do this, right? As opposed to one of the things you do when you beat deck builders is you build against problems will arise. like you build to solve issues you know are coming. And so it leans on that same philosophy where it's got all these tempting upgrades where you might be like, oh yeah, okay, so I've got a my ship form is, I don't know any of the ship form names, but my ship form is like a triangle, and that increases my thrust and my damage output. My shield is a reflector, which bounces enemy projectiles back at them. I'm shooting like a wide arc spread of laser fire. So and I've got this upgrade that tells me that I could like double the amount of projectiles I shoot, and like in a wider arc, and I could just be pissing hot white death in every fucking direction, and everything will fall beneath my fucking lasers. Maybe I'll do that, and then if you look at the other upgrades, you'll see like this one is like a plus 20% shield capacity, and you're like, oh, that's pretty boring. So you go for the fucking hot white death option, and then the next fucking level the next phase, the next enemy you come up against literally just hammers, like fills the screen like it's a fucking bullet hell game, with like its own hot white death. And your shields can't stand up to it. They just barely break, but they don't hold up to it before you kill it. And so as a result, you die. And all you can think about is, if I played conservatively, if I played correctly and taken the 20% upgrade, then if I'd accounted for what was coming, if I'd accounted for the enemy that was coming, then I would have lived through that. And I might have even gotten like that same upgrade for the next one, but I would have been less squishy. And of course, there's arguments to be made that perhaps you would have taken too long. You would have had less projectiles to fire, and so you would have done less damage, and so the 20% extra shields might not have been enough to get you through that bit. But like that then feeds back into like you may have like your choices. That's not the only choice you made before that boss, right? That's not the only upgrade you had. You had fucking 9 other fucking upgrades that you had along the way. And so you have to sort of analyze how you, like the choices you made and how you made those choices and how they impacted your success. And it's very easy to be short-sighted about it and myopic and make an analysis. I guess I've been like contemplating this concept a lot lately, this idea of how my interpretation of events is limited by my own perspective. But if you wind up being myopic, you might analyze the wrong thing. You might decide that you made one mistake, but when the mistake you made is actually something else. And I love that shit in games. I love it because when you learn the mistake you actually made, it feels actually like, I find that it feels really good. Like it feels like a growth experience. So yeah, this game is very early on, but there's still quite a lot to get out of it. And yeah, if I can get it as a twin stick shooter, it's going to be extremely addictive in my opinion.
It says here on Steam it's got controller support.
Maybe they fucking added it.
It says like full controller support.
That's it, yeah. Well, it wasn't working last week. Yeah, maybe they added it. There was an update on Monday or Tuesday. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I didn't because I bought it before my birthday, and so I bought it on my birthday. Maybe I just didn't download the update. That's my bad. Well, in that case, I mean, yeah, this is gonna be very fucking
different.
It's because I find it hard to play on a mouse because you are like literally thrusting with your mouse.
Yeah,
like mouse 2 is like thrust and mouse 1 is fire, and I find that extremely difficult to players. But yeah, anyway, there's like loads of different ways that you can play it, and like loads of different. The upgrades are very varied. Like I basically described the most boring version, but like the arc spray from the outset is basically like, oh yeah, any old fucking shoot 'em up game. But you can go wild. I had one run where I didn't upgrade my gun at all. I had that laser thing I was talking about without any projectiles. And because I couldn't get projectiles and because I kept getting projectile upgrades, my alternatives were I had the option to add basically a drone army around me. And so by the end of my run, I had like fucking 8 drones and they were killing everything at all times. And so my role was less about doing damage and more getting these fucking drones in range so they can fucking wreck shit. And yeah, that was pretty cool. There was another one. I had like a run that didn't last very long because I didn't give myself any fucking survivability. But you basically had to like fly into the thick of things, and then you'd fire, and it would like chain lightning to everything. And so in that one, the like what you wanted to do was get everything bunched up so that you could chain lightning to as many things as possible, because otherwise you weren't efficiently dealing damage. And yeah, like I died because like when you aggro them and try to draw them all together, they get very close to you and they're fire. And if you don't have enough fucking survivability, you just fucking perish. But yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, looks cool. I mean, with Steam sales on at the moment.
Is it on sale?
It is not on sale. Yes, it is actually 40% off.
40%? Fuck yeah. 12. Holy shit, really? All right, cool.
Steam refund, Joab, and buy it again.
Yeah, right? Dog shit would that be?
Yeah, Steam sales went on this morning, I think it was. So I haven't had a chance to really go through and grab anything, but yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that one. So it's called Nova Drift. It's on. It looks like Steam and IO. What's it called? Not Twitch IO. Itch IO. Yeah, I think it's on that as well. Anyway, cool. Sounds good. What else do we have here? Quickly, World of Warcraft Shadowlands. I don't have a lot to say specifically about the actual expansion and the new area that is going on in there. I haven't had a chance to play any of that, but I have fired it up, and I got to check out the new starting zone for the original OG characters that are in the game. So if you actually want to jump in and start a new toon as one of those characters, there's a starting zone called Exile's Reach that you can jump into and play. And I guess it's just a bit more up to date in terms of very streamlined, giving you an actual like base level of how a lot of the mechanics in the game work. Previously, you would pick a race, and then like that's kind of the starting area you would go into, and each sort of race had their own different area they would begin their quest on, depending on the island or whichever side of the world you're on. Whereas this one is like everybody can start there, and it's very much like you're getting the same experience that everybody else did when they're playing these characters. It does a good job of like giving you the basics, but also showing you stuff that the old tutorial system didn't do, like jumping in with a group and doing a dungeon. Like there's basically a dungeon at the end of that game where you can choose your, like, I'm going to be the tank and I'll be the damage dealer, blah, blah, blah. And it's super basic in terms of like what you're doing in that dungeon, but it's still gives you an introduction to dungeons, which you never got before. Like I never played a lot of dungeons when I was playing WoW back in the day because I just didn't know what they were. What boat one?
The one on the boat with the fucking with Cookie.
I
And the
no idea.
Defias guy, the pirate guy.
Right, but it wasn't a tutorial, right?
No, but I guess he got to it pretty early on. It wasn't a tutorial, no.
Maybe.
Wow, Cookie, One Eye. No, I don't think
No.
that's it. It says she's in the Burning Crusade. That's not fucking it.
That's it. I think that's the one.
That's the one. This. Oh man, fuck, we are nailing
the
it. This is another
4-year-old
fucking
tutorial.
classic. Gap fucking nails. Boats dungeon. Gap nails. Like game knowledge. Went into a dungeon. No. What's the one with the fucking guy?
The guy in the boat. Are you typing like guy
it's
boat?
on a boat. I'm trying to
Wow.
fucking. I've put wow. Yeah. Classic dungeon levels. Maybe this will fucking solve it.
I think they've gotten rid of. Okay. But where was that in?
Mines?
No.
That was in
Maybe
like
I
fucking,
do. Maybe.
It was like an alliance one. It was in Westfall, I think. Was
Right.
Westfall? Westfall,
Maybe.
yes.
Westworld. Yes.
Westworld.
But that was one of those things where you had to play as a specific character and then eventually get to that region and then find it and go through it. And this is like 30 minutes into a tutorial. Like it shows you all that stuff, like how to click on Dungeon Finder.
I get what you're saying. I just like the way I remember playing World of Warcraft, I was basically channeled into playing the Dead Nines. So
right.
Yeah.
The basic premise of that sort of little island is that like an expedition has gone off and they've gotten lost, and you get on a boat and go to this island to try and find everybody. It's this self-contained tutorial area, not very big, not really like you're not going to go there and get ganked or anything like that. So I did that. You can, if you want to, choose to ignore Exile's Reach and go to the original starting location for those characters. That's fine. If you're using like a demon hunter or I think a death knight, like one of those later heroes that came in, you can't go to that location because their starting area is still in whatever expansion it was that they were brought in. So it's purely, as far as I'm aware, those OG characters. There's a ray tracing. It's got ray tracing now. World of Warcraft has ray tracing.
What?
Yeah, and so I flicked that on. Looks awesome. It doesn't seem to be using up too much resources as far as I'm aware at this stage. But that could just because I've got a decent computer, and so it's not really causing me too much issues yet.
Right.
But there are different levels of ray tracing that you can put on there, ray tracing shadows, and that stuff looks really cool. Like you'll see a bird or something in the sky above you, and you can kind of look down, and all the shadows are sort of casting on the floor, and
the Shadowlands.
That is it. That's why they brought it in.
Yep.
Yeah. And what else is there? Oh, so I talked about this a couple of weeks back, but they basically squished everybody down in terms of levels. So my level 100, I think it's 150, got squished down to a level 50, and now what they've put into the game, when you get past that very first like tutorial section in the game, you can then go on to be like, all right, well, where do I want to go next? Previously, you would be like, I'm going to go do the original WoW content, and then you go on to, I don't even know the order of this, but let's go Burning Crusade, Lich King, and then you sort of make your way through, right?
Yep.
And you're leveling up as you do that. Now, everything sort of scales, and so you can be like, all right, which content do I want to go do? And so it gives you like a little selection, like a map selection. You're like, well, I want to go do the Lich King content, so you can finish the tutorial and then go to do the Lich King content and see that story and go in and just start playing it. You don't actually have to go through each one in a row and level it up that way, which is kind of cool. I guess it means it's less grindy, like a lot less grindy, which is cool. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've had a chance to check out yet. I'm still waiting at this stage. Maybe this weekend or tomorrow might get some time to actually play some of the new content, but
Yeah.
I'm hanging out for it. It looks really cool. A lot of people jumped on, man. Like my friends list on BattleNet was just a lot of WoW players. A lot of people playing WoW again, which is cool. Shadowlands out now.
Cool.
What do you want to do next out of these three that we've got? You can pick.
I pick. Let's do NBA. Go. Hey, before we do NBA,
Yep.
FIFA Next Gen is out today, I believe.
Okay.
Right, and I went to download it on my PS5, and I still can't work out how to do that. I still can't work this shit out, man. I'm so lost trying to download the PS5 version of games.
You've got to go to the dots, the three dots, remember?
But I went to the three dots and it still says just PS4 version. I don't understand.
Did you redeem a code or something? I don't know. I
don't think I need to. I think it just upgrades, right? Why is this such a fucking difficult question? It's such a... they've handled this in the worst way.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare. Anyway, NBA 2K.
NBA 2K21 on the PlayStation 5, the next gen version. Been playing a ton of this over the last couple of days. It's really good. Like, runs amazing, looks fantastic. The version that was on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox was a very... Like, it had a couple of cool changes in there. They did stuff with the movement and the shooting stick. But really, it was sort of like your yearly iteration that you kind of expect from a sports game. Whereas this version is like, there's a lot of stuff in there that is different compared to the one that we got a month ago on those other consoles. Some of the stuff that's in there is like, for my career specifically, they've overhauled the My Player builder. Previously, you would go in and choose like these... They'll give you like pie graphs, pie charts, and you would pick between like what one you wanted, and each one had like different strengths and weaknesses in certain tiers of stats. Like this person is a 3-point specialist with shooting, and this one here is a elite defender, and they'd give you a bunch of different pie graphs that you could go through, and it'd weight stuff in certain ways. This new player builder is basically you put stats into whatever you want. Like you can go in and tweak it the way that you want to play the game, and so that gives you a lot more control over being like, all right, I've got a certain amount of points that I want to put into this character. Like, where do I want to start with now? Like, do I just want to go sort of across the board, be really good, or do I want to put everything into shooting and maybe be a really good passer, or do I want to be a really good defender? It sort of gives you a lot more control over that sort of stuff, which is really good, because they used to do that stuff really like back in the day, and then they sort of went away from that and then made it more like these archetypes that you could go in and select from. And so then going back to this, like, all right, you can just go ham, like do it yourself, pick your sort of style of play, and then we'll let you go from there. So that stuff is really cool. The neighborhood is gone in my career. That's been replaced with the city, which is this enormous like area that you can roam around, different basketball activities going on, different types of basketball games. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but there's like there's basketball courts you can rent, and different facilities in there that you can go and do. The one thing I don't like about it, and I would not be surprised if they remove this at some stage, but it's gatekept in terms of you have to play a certain amount of like just generic basketball games to level up your character before you can get in there, like you're literally locked out of gate.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even try to hide that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they've flat out gatekeeped people that don't play the game to level up their character, and you've got to do.
But, what I was saying last week is that it's not that bad an idea, because it winds up like being a situation where like I wasn't able to get fucking neighborhood games because nobody wanted to play with someone who didn't have any fucking rep.
Well,
like people just wouldn't join when I was trying to play, and this means that you at least get a bit of rep.
Yeah.
I had to build rep by going to that fucking Gatorade thing on the old school one, and at least in this way you build a bit of rep out of the gate, so that people don't immediately ignore you. Which
my
might not
issue
be in your like location, but it is a problem in Australia.
Right. The issue that I was having was that there wasn't enough games being played to be able to, like, I was sitting there for minutes waiting for games to start because people just weren't around. And this is at 4:00 in the afternoon. Like it was a struggle. And so once I played like 2 games, I'd played for like an hour and I'd gotten halfway through a level, and I need like 3 or 4 levels or something. Like I could be literally playing proper games and like leveling up my character and that sort of thing. Instead, I'm sitting in a virtual queue, just standing here watching a basketball game for 6 or 7 minutes while this other game finishes, and I don't even know if other people would jump in and start playing. I don't know. They've just got to change the way that sort of works at this point. Like it's just, there's too much standing around. There's too much standing around not playing basketball. Instead, I'm waiting for people to join a queue that is not going anywhere. So that's kind of crappy. But the other stuff in there is really cool. In my career, I managed to get my way through the draft. I do not know how you get drafted number 1 in that game. I blitzed everybody. I still came 2nd draft pick. The guy that you're up against, his name's Cobb. He's your buddy. I blitzed his team when we were in college games. Like I destroyed people in the high school basketball. I don't think I lost a college game by. I won by probably 20 points at least every single game. Played his team, smashed him, absolutely obliterated him. Won the championship game, destroyed that. I was doing like 35, 40 points a game, like doubles in rebounds, like 6 assists, blocks, all that sort of jazz. Still got drafted 2nd. I don't know what you have to do to outdraft this dude that is apparently. I smashed Zion. They've actually changed a lot of the way that works, it looks like. So you would play, you and Cobb would team up to play Zion and some other dude. The other dude was way better than Zion. I don't know what he's doing. He's amazing. I had to guard him, and for whatever reason, I guess they were people were gaming it up last time, and so you would do things like set screens for your teammate and like do a lot of pick and rolls and passing the ball. It seems like they've made it so that you're the number 1 player. Like if he gets the ball, he'll immediately pass it back to you. And I found that a lot happening. Like I couldn't really work off him at all. And so I had to play against this other dude all the time and just kind of try and get past him and get to the basket. And then because I wasn't guarding Zion hardly touched the ball in our 2-on-2 game. It was just this one guy all the time. So there's something going on there. Anyway, I blitzed them. Still got drafted number 2. Like old mate didn't score a point, I don't think, because he kept passing me the ball. I just don't know what you need to do to get a number 1 draft pick. Either way, the Lakers got the number 1 and number 2 draft pick for this year again, which is exciting because coming off a win. we've got a rookie scoring 40 points a game, double.
Slash NBA definitely wondering if the NBA is rigging things to the Lakers.
Yeah. Started playing a bunch of the basketball in there. The rosters, man, they're on point with those rosters. They had stuff that was done yesterday in that game, like ready to go. They've been, because I've been playing it every day or two. They've been pushing out updates. I think they're roster updates because the Lakers have changed. They had like Marc Gasol in there yesterday. He only got signed officially yesterday. Schroeder is in there. Bunch of their new moves have all disappeared. So they're pushing out that stuff pretty quickly, which is really cool. Yep. The women's NBA is also in My Career now. So you can start a female character and jump in and play through that, which is cool. My Career has just been like a lot of big changes in there. It seems there's stuff with the AI that's been changed. I saw, which is pretty cool. And like this is just PlayStation specific, but that controller, man, that controller is so good on that game. You get such good feedback from things that are going on, posting up other players, and like feeling when you're like backing down somebody, like the responsiveness on those triggers, as those triggers sort of like pushing against your hands, is really cool. Sprinting down the court using your stamina, like you've really got to push that in. I really like that stuff. It just feels like that controller is gonna be a big game changer. If we don't see a new Elite controller coming out of Xbox with haptic triggers or adaptive triggers, whatever they want to call it, sometime at the end of next year or something, I would be surprised, because everybody's talking about this controller, and I think it's really changing the sort of connection between the player and the game quite a lot. Aside from that, the basketball in the game, it's just so smooth. Like, I feel like I'm getting shots up a lot easier just because the responsiveness feels a lot better. I'm hitting those green marks quite consistent now, and I don't know if that's just because I've got more control over my stats in my player, but I'm finding 3-pointers dropping a lot easier. It just feels like a lot more responsive when I'm trying to do certain things in the game, which is really cool. What else is that at? I don't know. I'm not sure what else there is to go off. There's just a lot going on that I feel like this doesn't feel like their sort of yearly update. This feels like a bit more of a step that they've taken this time around, which is really cool. And it just looks amazing. Like the presentation of going from, they do things like you walking down the hall behind the locker and walking into the stadium, and like there's just people everywhere. The seats are all filled. There's camera crews on the sideline. There's interviewers interviewing people. There's mascots walking around. Like there's training staff passing balls to people. It's just like there's a lot going on as you walk in there, and it's just really cool to see all that sort of stuff play out. It feels very atmospheric, which is awesome. Have you had a chance to check it out?
No. Well, I played it. I did enough to test out whether you could rent a fucking ball, and then I couldn't find it anyway. But that was that wasn't actually playing it because I wanted to play it on PlayStation. I've got it downloaded, and I'm going to start playing it this week.
Right.
I didn't think it was that good, but it sounds fucking amazing. So.
I mean, I think it's the best feeling game at this stage. Like it just feels really good to play. Like the ball movement with I really like the changing the control stick to dribble ball as opposed to being a shot stick on the right stick. You're just able to do a lot more stuff, I feel like, which is a lot of fun. There's a couple of small issues I was having, and I think they might have fixed that at this stage, but it wasn't a good start. I had like 3 games in a row that were just like breaking on me. My player character kept resetting. Like I would come back and my skin color was different, my hair had changed, and I couldn't go in and set them back. Every time I did that, it'd like erase my character and have a new face there, and so I'd have to upload my scan again. They'd like download it from the cloud or whatever it was still stored. I didn't have to actually scan my face again, but it'd just find it. That took a couple of days where every time I went in there, it was just like, your stuff is all changed. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And that meant like my name was different. My dude was called Junior for most of that start of that game. That was weird. I had one game where the HUD like broke on me. On the top right of the screen, you've usually got your player information. It'll show you like your score, rebounds, assists. You basically like your breakdown of stats, and it'll show your teammate grade. And then also every time you do something right or wrong, it'll pop up on the screen and say exactly whether or not it's a positive thing or a negative thing. That broke at one stage when I used the team takeover, and it kind of just froze. And I didn't realize it had frozen until I was like, I'm pretty sure I got more points than that. And then I saw that it wasn't moving at all. Like I was in the fourth quarter and I had like a C plus or something on my team grade. And then I realized, the little the bar next to it that's like good shot is like constantly on the screen. And so that didn't disappear. The game ended and it was still on the screen. And then it just freaked out and basically quit back to menu after that game ended. And I had to replay that game again. I don't know what happened, but it was strange. Another game I had, my controller vibration and things weren't working properly. And also I couldn't see my stamina bar or the names of people under like my teammates. So I couldn't see my stamina bar at all. It was like completely gone. And that was kind of difficult to play because you need that stamina bar to tell. Like when you're backing down a player in the post, you don't know if you're in the red or if you've still got a bit more like leeway to give. So that was a bit disappointing. But that seems, I don't know if they again fixed it in some of those patches they were dishing out, but I haven't seen any bugs like that since the first 3 games. These are all college games or high school games, I think they were. When I was playing it, but
network issues.
Yeah, there was some yesterday, but that was a PlayStation network issue.
Right.
That's the only time I've seen it.
I wonder if like your character stuff at least sounds like it might have been like a connection type dealio, because I was having that like those problems when I first installed it on the Xbox. It was being a bit weird.
But if it was a connection issue, I feel like it's saving it like locally somewhere at least.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was completely disappearing. It was more of we're just changing your skin color and your hair is now curly. And then I could re-download it and it would say like, once you actually finish it and then save it, it seemed like it uploads it somewhere, like it's going somewhere. But anyway, like I haven't experienced any of those problems since those first 2 days I was playing. It's been pretty good since then. Like I said, I think it's a really solid basketball game this year, which I'm surprised about because generally like a new gen game is it looks really pretty, but I don't know if you remember that PlayStation 4 version, like it was light. There was not a lot of stuff going on in that one. Sorry, I'm talking about the PlayStation 4 launch next gen. Like those two versions were extremely light on content. They looked amazing, but there wasn't a lot going on there. This is like there's more stuff in this version than there is in the current old gens. Yeah,
next gen version to be like garbage, but evidently not.
Yeah, I think it plays really well. It's awesome. I don't know the intricacies of like what the community is thinking about certain features and that sort of thing. Like, I don't go that deep into it, but for like me just playing my career and playing some basketball games in there, like it feels really good. So if you're gonna play NBA 2K, then I think next gen is the way to play this, because you're gonna have an awesome experience on it. It just looks so good. Yeah. I'll pause, like you pause the game, man, and just go into the camera mode and just fucking float around people and look at their faces. You're like, holy shit! Like, look at this. Look at Steph Curry's face. Holy crap. That's maybe the one thing that is a little bit jarring at this stage, is that you can tell the people that have had the whole face scan thing done and the ones that haven't. They absolutely like stick out. You can see them without a doubt. Like some of the coaching staff is kind of like, ooh, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
And that is kind of happening a little bit with your character when you're playing against these other NBA players, because they've had the proper like full face scan thing. Like they've sat in the machine, they've had all their tattoos done and that sort of thing, and you've got your camera phone taking a scan of your face, and it doesn't quite look the same as everybody else. So, I mean, I guess we'll see next year what they do, but maybe it's time to fix up that camera app a bit, the NBA camera app. Hopefully, we'll see. Anyway,
Like, yeah, it's that is some fucking very old school shit.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
Yeah, that's NBA 2K20. I don't have really much negative to say about it, other than the VC stuff is still horrendous, but that's never going to change. Basketball stuff is really good.
Cool.
All right, what else do we have here?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes.
I've been playing a bit more of this. Actually, I played a bit of Godfall, which isn't on the list, but we won't go into it too much. I played for like half an hour, and it felt like the combat fell off. I'm coming from Demon Souls, and I'd been playing Assassins. I got a code for Godfall, jumped into Godfall. I'm like, this, like, Assassins feels a little bit worse than Demon Souls. Not a lot at all. It feels good, but this feels way worse than Assassins, and so I don't want to play it. I've got no interest. So Godfall, not a fan of how it plays, but I haven't given it much of a fucking chance. I just didn't like it from the fucking outset. It just felt like shit. Anyway, Assassins, yeah, I've been playing more of this. Oh my god. I mean, I think my only fucking complaint about this game is that I find it difficult to go up and down shit. Like, I just find it's like unnecessarily sticky trying to climb up a ledge or go down. Actually, going down a ledge is probably the fucking toughest
I usually
part.
have trouble going down.
Yeah, like,
because you can climb up anything.
Yeah. It's my options are to leap off this mountain or to like wrestle with the controls for fucking. I might just eat myself this fucking mountain. I'm just gonna fucking. I ain't gonna fuck anymore. I've had enough. See if I live on the landing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do, and that's the best way to get down from shit. But yeah, climbing down is a pain in the dick. But otherwise, man, I'm fucking in love with this game. Just like roaming about, like finding dumb fucking stories. I have absolutely no interest in the main story. Like zero interest in the main story. It almost feels like a waste to be trapped to the confines of this main story when all I want to do is roam around and find new little stories. That's such a good example of the difference. Like I think the meme about game writing being bad is, it is a meme. It is a bit of a thing. But it doesn't hold a lot of water when you compare it to other, like, it's written, like, games are written to be movies, but they have the length of fucking, like, entire novel, like fantasy novels. Like, the sheer amounts of extra writing going on in here is staggering. The amount of people writing these things, a script is written by like one person, but like, and a book is written by, a script might be written by, I don't know, some of the worst ones are written by 6 people, but that's the thing, right? The more people writing a script, generally the worse it gets. Suicide Squad is a great example. right? But if you, on the flip side, a book, one person writes that, or if you're Tom Clancy, like 3 people write it. But like it's more narrowly focused. But you find in games that sometimes there are elements that are fucking spectacularly written, and sometimes there are like parts that are just not.
Yeah.
And that's it's pretty clearly defined in Assassins, in my opinion. The broader story is pretty much a generic sort of tale.
Yeah, it's the world.
Yeah. But yeah, all the other, the color fucking writing is phenomenal.
Did you find the magic mushrooms side quest?
Oh, what? No.
Oh, okay, no? It was one of those.
All right, excellent.
That's pretty early on.
I love how like conversations about Assassin's Creed so often start with "Did you find?" and it is like a fucking to-do list for me. It's like, oh, I have to find it though. Like,
did you see the ones I talked about last week?
No, because I didn't write them down. What was the one Drew was talking about? A fucking bard and a monk and a like priest and a someone or something. I don't know. I gotta find this. Whatever it is, I gotta find this one. Like, yeah. What were the other ones you were talking about last week?
Last week was Axehead and
oh yeah, Axehead. I still haven't found Axehead.
The barley growers.
Oh yeah. Like, so good, man. Like, it works so well, and they're so well contained.
Yeah. Was it you or Nate that was talking about the cats? Might have been Nate.
That was
you.
Me.
Right.
Cats and the rats. Yeah, that was like really good. Like, because it plays into an immediate sense of interactivity without necessarily like requiring button prompts and stuff. It's pure like using your knowledge of the systems to your advantage. It's fucking cool, man.
Right. Yeah. Well, I told you guys about this, but I had a look at the chapter list in the game to see like how far along I was. I'd look at a walkthrough and was like, oh, okay, there's like 30 something chapters or maybe more. Right, yeah. And then I went into my game and had a look, and I was on chapter 4, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm like 20 hours into this game. And I'm chapter 4. I feel like I've done so much. And it's because I've been doing all this side stuff and like walking around and doing all that thing, which is it's amazing. It's so fun to play, just like roam around. They've absolutely nailed that world building aspect. I think like you said, there's some mainline stuff in it that's pretty interesting, but it's the goofy shit on the surrounding it. It's very much taken the Witcher, like that's what The Witcher did. It had like it tried to be serious on that main story, but at least the main story was very compelling. What it was trying to tell you, it was well done. And then you'd have these like weird, wacky side quests, stuff that you kind of find out in the world, and that's what really filled it in for you and engaged you. Like Red Dead, exactly the same thing. Like such a seriously toned story, and then you go out
more like Red Dead than Witcher, maybe. Because I felt like the Witcher's ones are a bit more like broader, like they're more fleshed out. They almost feel like proper quests, whereas like in Red Dead you'd stumble across like a fucking cross burning or some shit, and that's what this sort of feels like. Maybe a little less organic than it was in Red Dead, but like maybe a middle area between those two, you know. But it fucking nails it, right? It walks that line really well, which is cool. Very good.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to finish that game just because I'm like, that's how big it is. I'm definitely playing it every once in a while.
It felt fucking overwhelmed, like proper overwhelming. I'm like, oh my god, that's too big.
Because I'm like, I'm at I'm still doing chapter 3 stuff here. I'm 20 hours in. This is nuts.
I haven't looked at where I'm up to, but I'm loath to. I'm worried. Yeah. I doubt I'm at chapter 4.
Someone sent. It might have been you that sent like the how long to beat. The completionist was like 170 hours, and I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
that is a lot.
It's especially stressing because I don't want to like fucking find every flag or whatever it is you do in Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah,
but
the floating note papers. Oh,
yeah, but I do want to find all of these goofy stories. That's the problem, right? That's what makes it feel so daunting. But it doesn't feel like it. It feels overwhelming in a different way to how Assassin's Creed games have traditionally felt overwhelming. You know, it feels overwhelming in wow, that's a lot of actual content I want to take part in, as opposed to wow, there's too much shit on this minimap. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. You know, it's good. It's the best Assassins I've played in fucking forever. It is the yeah.
Did you bump the difficulty up? Because Nate was talking about
100%. I started on hard.
Yeah.
As soon as you were talking about it, I'm like, I started on hard, and it already feels too easy. In some fights.
Have you done any of the Asgard stuff? Like, how far in are you?
No, I found a guy that I think is. You're talking about those dudes, right?
No, never mind.
Oh no, you're talking about like the fucking Abstergo shit, right? Like where it sort of splits you off into the different realm type thing.
There's like a lady where you drink her drink. And
no, I don't know.
No.
I haven't done it.
No, I don't think it's that. You'd know. You'd know what I was talking about, I feel like.
I've been hardcore roaming around the map, not doing the main story.
Wow,
and
have you figured out a way to? I was just gonna go look this up. The like skill map. I don't know what you call it. Skill tree. I just want to know where stuff is. I'm kind of over that system at this point.
Yeah. No, I haven't. But now you said it, I'm gonna do it. My new priority number one.
Yeah, haven't had as much time to play it as what I wanted to because there's. I usually like to try and play other games so we can talk about on this show, so I'm not just talking about the same stuff every week. But hopefully, at least maybe another week I can play this, unless if something drastic goes wrong and
something amazing shows up.
Yeah, something amazing shows up. We'll see. But otherwise, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is really good. There's a patch that dropped today on the next-gen consoles, which adds in some performance modes. So you can play it on like 60 frames per second, or I guess jack it up to really high resolution frame rate. Sorry, high resolution visual fidelity. So, it seems like there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. Anyway, excellent game. Absolutely excellent game. What else we got? Zero Latency Sydney. What is that?
Zero Latency Sydney is a location-based VR, I don't know, gaming area.
This is the one out in Penrith, right?
No. So,
no. What am I thinking of?
Different. Zero Latency, they have one in Melbourne, right?
Oh, is that the one we went to? Right,
like fucking 4 years ago or some shit. This is they've got one in Sydney now.
Okay.
And I went and checked it out. They're opening next Monday. But we went and got in a bit early. Took my wife, Nate's girlfriend, and Nate, and we all went and played some Zero Latency. They've got 3 different VR games. It's so we played the zombie. There's like an arena-based zombie one. They've got a like a PvP one, and a like an explorate, like a more like structured co-op one. And you like basically fight against like a rogue AI in a spaceship we didn't get to play this one because it's the longer one, and so we played. What we did was we played Undead Arena, which is the arena-based, or sorry, the horde mode-based zombie one. We played Soul Raiders, which is the PvP one. They've got like a couple of other ones coming as well. Like Engineering is like a exploration-based one, and I think they've got like the exclusive license on Far Cry VR.
All right,
just like some vast shit. But anyway, so we played Undead Arena, Soul Raiders, and this was like apparently played for half an hour, and I was fucking wrecked. They were like, "Oh, do you want to play Singularity as well? That's about half an hour. That's about as much time you just spent." I'm like, I couldn't fucking do it. I'm not fit enough. I'm not fit enough for this shit. It's out of control. There's a lot. I think my wife has like a Fitbit, one of those Fitbits, and I think she clocked up like 6,000 steps in half an hour. Like you're moving. You're not fucking. There's no standing still. This is not fucking like tiny shit. This is giant warehouse based shit. Anyways, like out near the fucking airport, and yeah, you go out there, you chuck on the fucking backpack, chuck on the fucking headset, and then your headphones, and you go out into the arena. They take you through like a bit of how to play and all that kind of shit. And then yeah, that's about it. It's good fun, man. I think they've done a really good job. I think they've like we were talking about it, and one of the things that because my wife's got a vision impairment, one of the things we were a bit worried about was whether or not she was actually being able to play, right? Because obviously VR is very vision focused, hinges on vision. And yeah, we were a little bit worried she wasn't going to actually have a good time. She plays Beat Saber. She has a lot of fun with that, and but like she struggled with a couple of other VR games. And one of the things I noticed was when the visual fidelity is low, it's very difficult. It's much more difficult for her to enjoy herself in it.
Sure.
So Beat Saber has, very, sharp lines and like distinctive art style and all that kind of stuff. And so she's able to get a lot out of it. Zero Latency, yeah, they've got some fucking high quality equipment. And so you've got really good, everything's rendered really well, nicely, and so it works out really well. And so she had a good time. She liked the zombie one, the co-op one, a lot more.
Is that one? Because I don't know how much has changed since I checked it out. But are you going from like levels to levels, or is it purely like you said, a horde mode where you kind of just bunkering down?
You are like moving in like around the one level, and then you jump on an elevator and you go to the next level. That's as far as you go.
Did you have to walk across a beam at some stage between two buildings?
No, I remember you spoke about it, but no.
Right.
Yeah. That sounds like this is like you're locked into a 80s style game show.
Yeah.
And there's like an announcer.
Yeah. Mine sounds like too many people fell over and they decided to remove that.
Not worth it. Yeah. It's possible. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with that one. It was like, you got headsets, mics, and like it was weird. I think you're aware at the start of the idea that people are watching you play VR, which might feel like, I think it always feels a bit goofy because you've seen other people play VR and they always look like fucking dorks running around. Oh my god, they're on your left! Oh, they're coming up! Oh yeah, watch your back! All that kind of shit. And then once that awareness fades and you sort of meld into, you sort of bleed into playing the game itself, and I guess the VR concept of presence takes over, do the exact same shit, and you're like, oh my god, they're on the left, they're coming, watch your back, man. All that kind of shit yourself, and it's like it gets frantic, and you're like, someone just like saved you from a zombie, like you turn around and there's a zombie that just like fucking gets blacked just as it's getting to you, and you're like, someone saved you, and like it feels fucking cool, man. Like it's rad. Like they did do such a good job. They've got ramps and an elevator, and walking up a ramp is like I think back to my time spent walking up a ramp, and I still like my brain sort of wants to fucking fold in on itself because it's really hard because you aren't walking up a ramp, but you are moving up a ramp, and it's very hard for your brain to process. But other than that, like it's fun, man. Like it's a good fucking session. And then Soul Raiders PvP. It's sort of like objective based. So we paired off as couples. Me and my wife I wouldn't say we got destroyed. It was very, very close. We lost though. So it's 3 rounds. Each round is on a different map. And the first round, there's like a ball in the center, and you shoot the ball to push it into the other team's goal.
Mm-hmm.
And also you shoot the other players so that they can not shoot the ball into your goal. That was fine. I think the level itself was a bit cramped. And so it like wound up being one of these situations where you could very easily get back to, like, when you die in that one, you had to walk back to like a respawn point. But the respawn point was kind of very close to the goal itself. And so when you died, you could walk back to the respawn and just start fucking shooting the ball to stop it from going into your goal. And that, I felt, wasn't designed particularly well. The second level is like a lot better. It's got like these data points that you have to get to, and you shoot them to capture them. But like it's like it's not a hall of mirrors, but it's made up like it's like a hall of doors.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a billion of these fucking doors that you have to go through, and you like shoot the door to open it, and you can sort of see through the other side of the door. And so like you shoot the door, and then if you know they're on the other side, you start shooting immediately. And if you don't, like you sort of scan the next area, and it's like, yeah, it's like going from like one phone booth to another phone booth. Like imagine like a room that's built of like fucking 80 phone booths, and you like open each of these doors each time, and like you make your way through, and like as you go through, the doors close behind you, and yeah, you're fucking walking through carefully trying to work out how to get to the fucking the objective to shoot it. And then you're also trying to keep an eye out for other people, your enemy, and you can only make them out based on the the orange hue of them being a bunch of doors away. And you open a door, and that's not the door, and you go through the next one, that's not the door. My wife like destroyed on this map. She had the highest fucking KD ratio of anyone on this map. She got like a bunch of double kills. She's a sneak. But she had shit all the time on the objective. So, fuck off back to Call of Duty. Then the third one was you took these like gondolas out to the main location, and you would then shoot the ball into the objective. But the trick with this one was there was like a sniper tower. Fucking Nate found the fucking sniper tower, and he was blapping us from fucking ages away. It was very confusing. Although we won this round, so it was 3. We lost 2-1, and the second one we lost on a tiebreaker of they had one more kill than us, which was a gutting way to lose. But Yeah, we would have fucking belted even more on this third one. Except for, so there's like a punishment mechanic when if you go into a wall, you take damage until you die, and it's very fucking quick. You take a lot of damage very quickly. It's to stop you from just sort of, wandering through, clipping through walls and cheating. But my problem was when Nate started sniping the shit out of me, I leant into the wall and died. Because but from my perspective, I wasn't in the wall, right? Like I was literally just sort of flush with it, and so that wasn't good. And if I didn't stand flush with it, he had like free shots on me. Like it was very easy for him to fucking shoot me. And so I found that one was perhaps like could use. They were saying, well, I never went up the fucking elevator to the sniper spot, but he was saying that he could actually see into our spawn point and shoot. He was shooting my wife before she got onto the gondola. So like he could literally spawn campers from that spot. I think that one needs a little bit of work, but other than like it's pretty minor shit. Like overall though, it was really well done. And it worked out really well. I honestly think location-based VR stuff is like has a lot of potential. I think 2020 is a spectacularly poor year for looking into it because location-based anything is not what people want right now.
No. I mean, that sort of stuff is okay because it's not like you're going into a room with tons of people. You kind of...
Yeah, and it's a large space.
It's a large space and you're not... You'd think that they're taking group bookings, right? Not randoms. Like the people
it's
you go in there with...
It's the size of like a Dendy cinema, but there's only like theoretically 6 of you in there. There's the 4 people playing plus 2 like workers who look after you. So
yeah, the risk is very low.
Yeah,
but it's probably more risk me going to the fucking supermarket than
true,
something like that.
But yeah, like they've done such a fucking good job with that shit, and like like they walked us through it really well. I don't think they. I have no idea really what they thought I was or not, but I don't think they knew I was media, so I don't think I got special media treatment. I think they just thought I was some dude who walked in and didn't pay. I don't know. I was very confused as to how they thought I'd come in to it. But anyway.
How did someone hit you up? Or did someone hit
me up? Yeah. So it was organized. I organized it via PR people. They hit me up to go check it out early. I definitely recommend it if you're up for like a very different experience. I've no idea. I think, I don't know how much it costs. It's probably a bit more expensive than an escape room, but it's certainly a very different experience. I would say it's probably a better bonding experience than an escape room based on my experiences in escape rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So I get way more frustrated with people who fucking can't find a key than I do with people who can't shoot. I don't give a fuck. I'm used to playing with motherfuckers.
I've heard Nate's pretty bad at shooting in VR games, so...
Nate actually topped our he got in the fucking zombie one. He was top of the table. He died 3 times and he was still top of the table. Dude was fucking Blackman machine. He found like one location where he just fucking murdered everything nonstop. It was like the perfect spot. And I was like wandering around exploring this fucking arena, and he's like bang 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 bang, bang nonstop fucking headshots. It was very well done.
Right.
But it was good. And I liked my favorite thing was hopefully they said that they would send me video footage of us playing.
Cool.
I hope they do. And I hope it keeps my voice comms. But I my favorite thing was occasionally I could hear my own voice through other people's mics.
Yeah.
So I was yelling a bit. I may have been yelling.
It's like this podcast.
It is. Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely worth checking out. If it's near the airport, which I think is a bit of a weird location for it, but
I mean, it's not that hard to get to.
no, yeah, and they've got they don't have parking on site, but they got a deal with the parking garage next door, parking car hole next door, so you can get that pretty cheap.
Cool.
So yeah, works out pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. I think it's open from I think they said the 1st of December, which I think is next Wednesday, next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday.
That's what they said.
That's what they said.
All right. There's one more game here that you didn't put down, but you reminded me, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You've been playing this.
Yep. I haven't been playing this, sort of. Look, here's the thing, right? Last week, I was certain that you were going to be wrong. Okay? And this week, I'm not that certain that you were wrong. Because it has been pretty fucking generic so far. I like walking around the fucking, the house, the safe house, and that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to the end. I've only gotten to the end of the Vietnam mission, and that was pretty. I very much felt like I'd played that before.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really felt like I'd played that one before. Had a strong feeling that I'd done all of this stuff before. But then, see, the problem is I've stopped playing because at the end of every fucking level, the game crashes.
Right.
And it won't work for me. And it tells me I have to perform a repair and scan, which takes half an hour. And so it really kills my fucking momentum. I'll be like, yep, all right, well, that level is generic as shit, but I'm sure the next one will be better. But I don't get to fucking check it out because it's crashed. And yeah, that sucks.
Right.
So
you're doing the one where you're in a helicopter, right? And you're flying around and then you go land and that sort of thing. Okay, yeah, I know where you are.
Yeah, which I didn't hate. It just felt like something I'd done before a dozen times. Which, I guess you gotta have that stuff, right? But I don't know. It's just a bit dull. You could have mixed it up a bit more. There was definitely a Vietnam mission in maybe not Black Ops 4, maybe Black Ops 3 that felt like you were on the ground version of exactly this shit. I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway.
I mean, it sounds like you're halfway or something, right? I'm trying to think. How far into
halfway?
it?
Are you kidding?
Oh no, you did the Vietnam one, so that's like the fourth mission. You're nearly halfway.
You're fucking kidding. Oh yeah, well maybe
it's not that long
because I haven't seen it. If it doesn't pick up real fucking soon, good lord.
Yeah. I think you've done the stealth missions, right? There's one or two stealth missions before that. There's the have you done the Fast and Furious chasing down the big plane in the cars? You haven't done that yet? Yeah, you've done that. Okay.
Big plane, yeah. Stealth mission.
Isn't there there's a stealth mission where you're... Oh, maybe... No, that's later on. I'm just looking at the mission list now. You're not there yet.
Right.
It's one or two more missions in. They're not... some of them just aren't long missions and they're sort of joined to each other.
Right, okay.
Like I said last week, it's not that long. It's probably 4.5 hours, 5 hours in total. But you're going to have to stick it in there if you want to see those last couple of missions, the good ones.
Alrighty, well, yeah, I'll keep powering through, I guess.
Yep. Anyway. Cool. You haven't played any more zombies or anything like that then?
No, not yet. Yeah. It's I played some fucking Warzone with Nate. We had some fucking killer games, but
yeah.
It's like I want to play zombies with 4 people, not 3 or 2. And yeah.
Well, hey, I've got another. I got time now. I'm finished all my work at this stage.
Yahoo!
For this stage, yeah.
Unless something interesting.
Like what?
Else.
What else is interesting that's coming out this year?
What else? Indeed, Luke. What a good question. What else is interesting that is coming out this year that is not that far away anymore? What could... Anyway. Yeah. So, that's the games we've been playing. I'm going to play some Monster Train.
Yep.
Continue to play fucking Valhalla until something more interesting comes along. And check out some NBA. And if I can ever work it out, I'll play FIFA 21. If I can ever fucking work it out, yeah, I think I'm going to need someone to fucking hold my hand through this shit. I was on another podcast earlier this week. It's called Video Game Small Talk. And I was talking about, it's with James Swinbanks, Hope Corrigan. And I was a guest along with Alex Walker from Kotaku and Matt Sainsbury from Digitally Downloaded. And I was like, oh, yeah. I had like loads of trouble working out how to power the fucking PlayStation off.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't work it out because it's not the same. And I got the feeling like I was being like shit talked. Because Matt from Digitally Downloaded was like, well, I've played console games before, so I actually knew how to turn off my my PlayStation. I didn't have any problem with that. I'm not new to consoles, so I just sort of like tried things out. I'm like, am I being shit talked here? But truth is, if Matt listens to this, if you could fucking show me how to download FIFA 21, I would fucking welcome the help because I have no idea, man. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm just out of my league on that one.
Because on the old PlayStation, you'd hold the PlayStation button down and it'd bring up a menu.
Exactly.
And you
not tap it. Right?
Now you tap it, and then you got to press down to go down, and then you got to go right.
Left. Yeah. No, you go left. Left is faster.
Oh, I didn't know you go left.
All the way to the
there
right.
You go. I was always going right. And then you got to hit the power button, and then it brings up another menu. It's way more steps. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's kick off with some news. Not a lot here, but we'll get through what we've got. First one on the list is IO Interactive, the makers of the Hitman series, are working on a new 007 game. This seems like the perfect marrying of two creatives. What an awesome teaser trailer as well, right? Yeah. Great teaser trailer. It's basically like a inside the barrel of a gun. You're hearing crunching of footsteps, maybe on snow or something like that, and then you hear the tones of that James Bond theme very slowly start to kick in.
It's slow swell.
Yeah. That one note sort of thing just lingers for a bit too long, and then you're like, is that James Bond? Is this 007? Is that what's happening? Yeah. I don't know. Are you excited? We haven't had a good James Bond game in a while.
I am excited.
I mean, it might not even be James Bond, but
it's one of those things where, in my heart, I'm like, don't get excited. Don't get excited, idiot. There's so much room for this to be shit. But
I mean, the other thing you've got to think about as well, this might be a different team working on it, right? Because we know the Hitman team is still working on Hitman 3. That's maybe as much as we know. It's 2 months away. Or is this them teasing something that is still a ways off?
Yeah, ages away.
So
yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited nonetheless. Like, I'm trying not to be, but I'm very excited because I think they know what they're doing, right? And just imagining a fucking James Bond game with the Hitman mechanics, fucking hell, it'd be so cool. I think like you wouldn't do disguises and stuff as much, but they could do some super interesting shit with all their AI and their gorgeous world building and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like,
is it a third-person game?
Yeah, I think it has to be.
You think? Okay.
You reckon it's first person?
I don't know.
People lose their fucking minds. I don't think they make. Like, I think everything they do works so well in that third person point of view.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd almost be a waste to do it in first person. But at the same time, you know, the sneaking stuff, I think that'd be so much harder in first. On the other hand,
is 007 a sneaking game though, or is it more of an action shooter game?
Right.
With like a spy element, like a No One Lives Forever or something like that.
Like a Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question. Fuck, how good would it be if it was like No One Lives Forever? That'd be fucking amazing. That'd be out of control. See, now my hype is just it's getting out of control.
Yeah, it comes out, it's like it's a MOBA.
It's rocketing. Yeah, that'd be fucking hilarious.
It's a battle royale game.
What were those games?
Who is the last one alive? You are now 007.
Or like James Bond Go, and it's a mobile game. Fuck, people would lose their shit. Yeah.
Right. Okay, moving on. I'm sure it's going to be a while before we hear more about that. We got news about Cyberpunk 2077. Some physical copies have started to leak out. I mean, we speculated on this when the delay happened, right? Talking about, can they delay this game again? Or is it at the stage now where there's already physical copies out there and they're probably at a point where they can't really delay it because they'll get out in the wild, and that seems to be happening. We're seeing photos and videos starting appearing online at this stage for this game, and I guess you've got to put your spoiler protectors on going forward. I don't know. Like I don't think this is as bad as what happened with like The Last of Us, right? Because that's a game that's set with an existing. It's an existing property. You know about those characters in that world, and you're sort of you're connected to those people or the things that are happening in that game. Whereas this game, no one really knows anything about it. That could be even more detrimental, I guess. I mean, we know one character's in it, right? Keanu Reeves is a character, and that's where the spoilers could come from for that sort of thing. So I guess people just have to be wary that even though we are 3 weeks out from that thing, 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks. Holy shit! Yeah, there's stuff that could still happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you get a chance to watch any of these behind-the-scene videos they're doing? The latest CityWire event?
Into blackout mode, where I don't want to see any of the stuff that they're doing anymore. I briefly watched a tiny bit of a PlayStation one just to see if they were going to do a difference, like any kind of difference between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But the PlayStation 5 video was backwards compatibility mode of the PlayStation 4 version.
Yeah, you can't.
So there's a decent chance that they haven't worked out how to fucking download the PlayStation 5 game on their PlayStation 5s. That's what my theory is. They can't work out how to do it.
Yeah.
Theory's bad. But yeah.
Right. They did do a inside the Night City Wire live stream that they've been doing. There was a behind the scenes with Keanu. You can watch that. There's no spoiler stuff in there. It's a lot of him in a booth doing voice acting and talking about choices players can make, and him in a mocap suit and that sort of thing. I didn't realize he was going to be doing mocap and that sort of thing, but
yeah, wow.
I guess what I'm interested to see is, for me, it's like how much is he in this game. They've talked about him being like the most or second most amount of lines in this game, and like how much is he actually going to be in it. But seeing like the behind the scenes things with him being like holding guns and doing weird, commando roles and shit like that, and that sort of thing. It's like, all right, yeah, he's done some work in there. Or was it him doing that for a day and the rest of it was him in a phone booth somewhere? Like that's sort of what I want to see. Anyway, Cyberpunk is hopefully not too far away. So yeah, just be wary that there are spoilers that could be starting to come out because people are dickheads. Moving on, we got Watch Dogs Legion. The online mode for that has been delayed until next year. So this was news out of this morning. The originally there was going to be an update to push out the co-op mode in that, the invasion mode, and the there was going to be like a battle bot arena with those spider bots as well. That's all being shifted to next year. No date at this stage. Ubisoft is talking about working on the single player and getting that up to scratch at this point, which I don't know. How do you feel about this? Because I kind of already felt that having the co-op and the invasion mode not at launch was already sort of like a big mistake, because that is sort of a big pillar of that franchise. At least that's what I think.
Card for me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from that perspective, delaying it more doesn't really matter to me, I think. I mean, it's already not there. What does it matter if I wait a little bit longer, especially if, like, I think it would have been worse for them to force that out only for it to still, like, the games to still run like garbage, because it shits its pants sometimes on the Series X. So yeah, it's better for it to delay it and fix that shit before they shove this shit out, because that's only going to make it even tougher, and I'd hate to die to an invasion because my game was shitting its pants.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. This feels like a big missed opportunity. This game probably should have just been delayed flat out at this point.
100%. Like, especially with Valhalla coming out and being so good, like, I don't know why they needed to have 2 AAA games out on the same fucking week.
The only thing I could think of when we talked about this during the review is that they just knew this was gonna flop, and so they just put it out. Why put more money into it if it's not gonna get anywhere? The game was already delayed at this stage. It's unfortunate, because that I was really looking forward to playing that invasion stuff next month, and that's not happening anymore. So big bummer. And like at this stage, I don't know if I'll jump back into it in December. Sorry, next year, because I might be too far away. I don't know. Like, do I keep that game installed just so I can just so I can see it at that point? At least if it was going to be a week or two from now, there's some ability for me to jump in and just see it. But anyway, next up we have Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, or I guess they just call it Red Dead Online at this stage. Is getting a standalone version which will be releasing next week, and it's going for super cheap. It's I don't know what the conversion is in Australian, but it's $4.99 in the US. So I'm guessing like $7 or $8 in Australia at this stage.
Right.
So this includes just the online component. I guess it's a good move, but at the same time, why don't you have Red Dead? Like, what is your reasoning behind that?
What are you doing? Get Red Dead.
Yeah, get it. It's
$6.95 apparently.
Okay.
Which is 75% off the regular.
Right.
February 15. And has to unlock Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's cool that they're splitting it up. That's awesome. I'm definitely keen to jump in at some stage and have a look at that. I've still got it installed. They update that game a lot. I get a lot of press releases about it, and they talk about how there's like updates to the bounty system, and there's like legendary bounties you can go after. I'm keen to jump in there and see what's going on alone, because the last time I had a look, it was during the like beta, I think, at that stage on the PlayStation. Anyway, that's available next week, really cheap, but there's a lot of sales on right now. If you have not played Red Dead Redemption 2, definitely check that out, because it's one of the, I'd say, the best experiences on last gen.
Yep.
That's the news. That's all
the
of it.
News. Beautiful.
Any questions for this week?
We do have questions.
Awesome.
Let's have a squeeze. All right. That's okay. Johnny Bravo writes, "Hey gents, how long until Joab struggles with the combat of Cyberpunk 2077? So releases a video recommending everyone play it on easy." This is very droll, Johnny Bravo. Very droll. That said, before I went on my fucking blackout, I was talking to some fellow game journos who IGN got to play like 16 hours of it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch or read any of the coverage, but I was talking to some people from IGN who had, and they were saying that apparently the combat is like the weakest part of the game at the moment.
That's what we've heard for a while now, right? That seems to be. Wasn't Matthews saying that as well? Adam Matthews was talking about it.
I vaguely remember that.
I do recall that a lot of the previews back in, like, I think it was March this year, like just up, might have been later than that. The combat is sort of the weakest part, but we'll see. We'll see how that affects it.
Yeah. So maybe I will, JB. Maybe I will wind up doing that. Is this? I wonder if this was prompted by Dangus. Dangus made a comment on my my video about playing The Witcher on easy, about how I was soft, but it was so obviously Dangus because he made a reference to Jack in it that I didn't even need to look at the fucking username to realize. I wonder if this was prompted by that. Good air quotes question, JB. Very droll. Heathy writes, "Do you not think that was some of his best advice ever, helping you enjoy the game and story more rather than worrying about the clunky-ish combat system? I know I love the shit out of that game, and I feel like I started on easy before he put that article up, but do you think CDPR should increase the difficulty so that normal is the new easy, so that delicate types don't get upset about enjoying a game more on easy?"
The old switch, the switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. They could just make the combat better, couldn't they? Like, why don't they just do that? That'd be easier than. I guess relabeling it as easy would probably, or relabeling easy as normal would probably be easier than the reverse, than actually making changes to the game. So that's not a bad idea. Luke, any thoughts?
So you mean like let's make hard mode normal? Let's do that. That's what the plan is. Just trick everybody.
I think make easy mode normal so that people don't realize, and then don't have an easy mode.
Yeah.
And then just bump the difficulty all the way up, and then have like some crazy ultra nightmare mode that has like, I don't know, fucking Iron Man built in or some shit. As your
I don't know.
hardest mode. No,
because then I get upset because I'm like, the game's too easy.
Too easy, yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed. I'm like, that's just too easy. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Heathy continues to write. He's struck this through for some reason. Actually, come to think of it, I might have started on normal and moved on his advice while he was composing the article. And then he repeats that, but adds a question mark, which I guess is to get around to circumvent our question requirement in the questions channel, which good stuff. I don't understand how that is. It seems rhetorical for a question, but I do think that yes, I told him to just put it on ease mode while I was putting together the piece itself, if I recall correctly, because I was like championing the cause to everyone who'd fucking listen back then. Just put it on easy. Just put it on easy. Yeah. Nobody would listen.
Did we get that early? I don't even remember at this stage anymore. I feel like
we did. It wasn't early. I think it was like a couple of days. It wasn't early enough. I do remember that. But
I feel like we might have, because I think I played that on Xbox.
Yeah. I think code came in on console first.
Oh, it definitely did.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I feel like I played it on Xbox. Anyway, cool. Good stories.
Good questions.
And that is the
Especially
podcast for this week.
Give me props. It's the podcast.
You love
Good
it.
Stuff.
You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows, Spotify, YouTube, Podchaser. I found us on Amazon. We're on Audible and Amazon Music.
Yes. Finally.
Fair enough. Anyway, pretty much anywhere you can find us. Under the Gap or the GA Podcast, please rate and review the show. If you have a moment, it helps other people find us. If you would like to send us questions, you can email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can leave us a question on there, or just jump in and chit-chat about anything. I think it looks like people are still trying to find graphics cards at this stage.
Yep.
Same sort of things going on with the AMD stuff that released this week.
Even lower stock with AMD.
Yeah. Right.
Is what I'm seeing from people with knowledge, which is just fucked, honestly. But yeah.
Bonkers. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/thega podcast, twitter.com/thega podcast. You can find us on YouTube, thegapodcast.com/YouTube. You can watch this video of the podcast on the internet right now. Probably not right now, because this podcast goes up first, then the video goes up later. But you can watch us on there. Now, last week I put up some Assassin's Creed footage. That was pretty much all that went with it. This week, I don't think I've got anything really to chuck in there. So
right,
it'll just be us talking forever.
Might be if I get video of Zero Latency, I can send it over.
Yeah, I can do that. Cool. And you can also find our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all those things we talked about. If you're not sure what they were, you can go there. Everything's up there. You can go check out past episodes. You can go read Joab's Xbox versus PlayStation 5 review feature thing that he did. There's a bunch of things on there you can go check out. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members who help support this show and the website to keep things rolling. You can go to patreon.com/thega podcast, become a recurring member, get the podcast early. So thank you to everyone that does that every week. We greatly appreciate your support.
We love
anything
it.
you'd like to
ask hurtful questions like JB did.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you'd like to spruik out for this week?
That IGN thing that I was talking about last week, I think is actually going out this week. So go check that out.
Yeah. This week. Okay. You can find me. If you'd like to send me hate messages, you can go to twitter.com/Luke Lawrie, LAWRA. If you listen to this show, you'll probably actually get through. It's the people that don't listen and who are like, don't talk to anybody. They're the ones that end up in the Twitter void.
That's true.
But anyway, you can find me on there. And that is the show. I don't know what we'll be doing next week. I'll hopefully be able to play some more Valhalla. Maybe we can get into some Black Ops zombies finally. Keen to do a bit of that. Hopefully some Shadowlands, because I want to get a chance to play a bit more of that. But yeah, it'll be, things are slowly, they've ramped up. There's a lot of things going on, and now we're in a little bit of a void for a couple of weeks, it feels like. But gearing up towards the end of the year, maybe start thinking about like, what are your favorite games this year? Let us know. Send us some messages.
We might need your help, listeners. We might need your help this year because there hasn't been a lot. So if there's anything you think we've missed, and there's definitely stuff I'm sure we've missed, let us know, and we'll see if we can get it in there before the fucking end of your podcast.
Anything that we should check out, or if you've got something that that you think is worthy, put like a little tag on it that says like Game of the Year, and maybe we can read it out on the Game of the Year show. People's people's thoughts. Anyway, that is it. Thank you all for listening. We'll catch you next week.